What if the biggest mistake of your life is waiting to feel ready? What you don't work on today becomes tomorrow's frustration. No one's going to show up to give you permission, motivation, or a push. That's on you. You are the architect of your destiny, and every day you postpone things, you're choosing to give up. Because only those who face themselves without excuses discover who they can truly become. This video isn't a pat on the back or just another motivational speech. It's a mirror showing you everything you could be if you stopped getting in your own way. Here, you'll uncover Stoic lessons that aren't meant to cheer you up, but to wake you up. Because the life you dream of doesn't happen by chance. It happens when you make tough decisions, when you choose to move forward even when you don't feel like it, when you make inner work a priority. If you're tired of living halfway, if something inside you is screaming that you can't go on like this, these teachings might just be the beginning of your transformation. But only if you dare to put them into practice. Sometimes a simple accident can spark something that had been shut off for far too long. And for Laura, all it took was an apple rolling across the floor to realize she wasn't really living, just repeating meaningless days. She couldn't even remember the last time she had run. Not to catch the bus, not to escape the rain. She had simply stopped moving. That afternoon, as she walked home with her grocery bag hanging from her hand and her mind somewhere else, an apple slipped out and rolled until it stopped right at the feet of a man running in the opposite direction. He picked it up, handed it back to her, and before she could even thank him, he was already gone, his t-shirt soaked in sweat. On his back, in huge, uneven letters, it read, "Better today than yesterday." Laura stood still, the apple in her hand, that phrase etched in her mind as if someone had shouted it right in her ear. When she got home, she couldn't help but grab a piece of paper and write it down just like that. Better today than yesterday. That same night, while standing in the kitchen having dinner, she thought about how she had spent the past few months. Nothing bad, but nothing good either. Everything the same, every day a cheap copy of the one before, over and over again. The next day, she left home 10 minutes early, just to try and see the man in the t-shirt again. She saw him running. No music, no watch, not competing with anyone. And then she understood. It wasn't about beating anyone, not even herself. It was about refusing to settle for staying in the same place. That day, she decided to take the stairs instead of the elevator, even if she was gasping for breath by the 4th floor. She decided to eat a salad in the park instead of at her desk. She decided to text her brother, even though she hadn't spoken to him in months and didn't know what to say. And when she got home, she decided to meditate for 5 minutes instead of scrolling endlessly on her phone. That night, before bed, she wrote again on the paper, "Better today than yesterday." And the next day, the same. And the day after that too. Over time, that sheet filled up with little victories, clumsy but steady steps. She never stopped feeling a little tired or a little unsure. But every night she went to bed with the sense that she was building something, even if no one else could see it. Laura didn't become perfect or achieve anything spectacular. She just decided that each day would be a little better than the one before. And she kept her promise. Because working to be better every day isn't some grand goal. It's a humble choice, repeated quietly, even when it feels like nothing is changing. She still keeps that sheet of paper, full of dates and small things she crossed off. And when someone asks her how it all started, she smiles and says, "The day an apple reminded me I could move." And now I'm asking you, how long have you been living like life is just a string of mediocre moments? If this question makes you feel uncomfortable, you already know what to do. Subscribe and become an exclusive member to start building a version of yourself that doesn't hide. And tell me in the comments, what have you gone too long without improving? Or simply write, "Stoic at heart. I work to be better every day." Because today you decide to stop settling and start moving toward the life you deserve. Lesson 2. Where do you see yourself and how are you going to get there? Have you ever played that game where you have to put together a puzzle without seeing the picture on the box? You know there's a complete image, but you have no idea what you're building. You place one piece, then another, but nothing really fits. You get frustrated, start doubting, and eventually give up. That's how a lot of people live. And maybe that includes you, my friend. You wake up every day with a vague idea that you want something better, but you don't really know what that something is. It's like going grocery shopping without a list. On an empty stomach, you end up filling your cart with all the things you don't need. You close your eyes to imagine your ideal life, and all you see is a thick fog of "I'd like to, someday, I wish." But that's not visualization. That's just aimless dreaming. And without direction, there's no progress, only circles. Let me tell you something. Visualizing isn't sitting around imagining yourself in a mansion with an ocean view, while the universe magically works things out for you. No, not at all. Real visualization means getting your hands dirty with your own vision. It's looking closely at what you want and asking yourself, honestly, if you're acting like someone who's actually going to get there. The Stoics didn't use vision boards, but they had something far more powerful: premeditatio malorum, the practice of imagining the obstacles, the setbacks, the mistakes, not to live in fear, but to be ready. Marcus Aurelius said it clearly: think often of how swiftly all that exists and happens is swept away and forgotten by the passage of time. Because if you don't know what you want to build, time will take it from you, and it won't ask first. And this isn't just ancient philosophy. Psychologist Emily Balcetis, an expert in visual perception, found that people who visualize their goals clearly and specifically tend to stay more focused and motivated. But here's the key. That visualization has to include effort, not just the result. So, if you want to stop wandering aimlessly and really start transforming, here's something you can try starting today. Every morning before you even touch your phone, ask yourself, how would my best self act today? Picture that version of you in real-life situations, dealing with a difficult person, resisting temptation, making a tough decision. Just 5 minutes a day is enough to reset your mindset. Then spend another 5 minutes imagining the effort, not the reward. What does that workout feel like? That study session, that sacrifice? Your brain needs to rehearse the hard parts, not just the shiny outcome. And to close, make a list, but not of tasks. Make a list of decisions. Write down 3 decisions that version of you, the one you admire, would make today. Pick one and follow through. Not tomorrow, today. Because if you keep walking without direction, every path will seem fine, until you realize you've gotten nowhere. So now tell us in the comments, what's that one thing you do want to start visualizing more clearly from today on? How would that version of you, the one you respect most, act in your place? We're building a community of people who are done with dreaming and are ready to start building. We want to hear from you. Lesson 3. Cut everything that steals your attention. Imagine Marcus Aurelius waking up in your life today. He opens his eyes and the first thing he sees is you working 10 tabs open in your browser, your phone buzzing every 2 minutes, a video playing in the background because silence makes you uncomfortable, notifications popping up in the corner of your screen, and you, in the middle of all that noise, telling yourself you're being productive. You know what a Stoic would say if they saw that? That your mind stopped being a temple and turned into a waiting room full of screens fighting for your attention. The Stoics were crystal clear on something. Life is measured by how you use your attention, not by how many hours you work, not by how many tasks you cross off a list, by how you choose to use that limited resource that is your ability to focus. And here comes the uncomfortable truth. It's not enough to have priorities if your environment is designed to steal them from you. You can know exactly what's important, but if something interrupts you every 2 minutes, you'll never get there. Let me paint you a scene I'm sure you recognize. You're trying to focus on something important, a project, a paper, something that demands your best self. But you've got WhatsApp web open because you don't want to miss anything. Your email has notifications on because you need to reply quickly. Slack or Teams is open because your team might need you. And every time something pings, you just glance at it for a second, just a second. But that second turns into 2 minutes. Those 2 minutes lead to checking other things. And when you finally return to what matters, your head isn't there anymore. It's halfway between what you were doing and what you just saw. By the end of the block, you're drained. But it's not a normal kind of tired. It's that strange exhaustion that comes from being busy without moving forward. Like you worked non-stop, but produced nothing. That feeling has a cause. Your mind has been running a mental marathon. Let me explain it how it really is. Trying to focus today is like running a marathon, but not a normal one. Not on a straight track, not with a number on your chest, not on a clean and clear circuit. Your marathon feels more like a race designed to sabotage you. Picture yourself at the starting line. You're ready, motivated, taking a deep breath. The gun goes off and you start running. But at the first kilometer, someone signals you to look at a screen. You have to stop for a second, you keep going. At the second kilometer, someone shoves a sign full of urgent messages in your face. You dodge it. At the third, it starts drizzling. But not rain. Notifications, vibrations, sounds, alerts. They hit your attention like tiny stones falling on your shoulders. You try to keep your pace, but every interruption breaks your stride, and they won't let you move in a straight line. The road is full of detours you didn't ask for, streets that lead nowhere. People pushing you to the side saying, just look at this for a second. Answer this quickly. Do it now. It'll only take a minute. And you keep running, but you're not flowing. You're stumbling forward. Start and stop, over and over that drains more than a real marathon. And when you finally stop, something strange happens. You're drained, sweaty, your legs shaking. But when you look back, you barely moved. You were in motion all day, yes, but without direction. And that's exactly what happens to your mind when you try to work surrounded by interruptions. It runs hard, but moves little. And if this sounds exaggerated, it's not. There's a name for it in psychology. Gloria Mark, one of the world's top researchers in attention and digital work, discovered something alarming. The average amount of time we spend on a task before switching is brutally low. And that constant switching comes at a cost. Every time you jump, even for a second, your brain doesn't return to the same level of focus. A part of your mind stays stuck in the last thing you were doing. It's like trying to fill a glass while someone's poking a hole in the bottom. It never really fills. You never give your full 100%. But here's the thing. It's not that you're weak. It's not that you lack discipline. It's that you're fighting a system designed to win. Notifications aren't accidents. The sounds, the colors, the vibrations, everything is engineered by teams of experts whose job is to grab your attention and never let it go. Nir Eyal, the author who writes about reclaiming control, says it clearly. The key isn't to run from technology, but to force it to play on your team. And yes, that sounds nice, but the Stoics figured this out 2,000 years ago. Epictetus said, "Distinguish between what depends on you and what doesn't." It doesn't depend on you that social media exists, or that urgent messages come in, or that digital noise is constant. But it does depend on you where your phone is when you're trying to focus. It does depend on you whether you check email every 5 minutes or twice a day. It does depend on you whether your environment drains you or supports you. Marcus Aurelius ruled surrounded by noise. Not digital noise, but noise all the same. People asking for urgent decisions, war reports, political betrayals, problems that couldn't wait. And even then, he found moments to be alone with his thoughts, to write, to reflect. He protected his mental space like it was sacred, not because he had time to spare, but because he knew if he didn't, his mind would be devoured by the storm outside. And this brings us to something almost no one wants to admit. Distractions don't just come from outside. You can be in a silent room, no phone, no notifications, no noise, and still feel like your mind is chaos. Worries, self-criticism, imaginary conversations with people who aren't there, future scenarios that may never happen, past moments that keep coming back. Your surroundings might be at peace, but your mind might be living through a war. Let me tell you the story of someone who lived that firsthand. I met her in a massive library, one of those that smell like wood and old books, a brilliant student, disciplined, quiet. Everything perfect on the outside. She had her notes laid out, her laptop open, her coffee by her side, and nothing. No progress. She flipped through pages back and forth like her head was stuck in a broken loop. Sometimes she just sat still, staring at a fixed point on the table, her eyes lost. When I spoke to her later, she explained it in a soft voice. I can be in silence, no distractions, no phone, but my mind won't shut up. It's like I'm trying to study with 20 voices inside. One part wants to focus. Another's thinking about what I have to do later. Another is criticizing what I did yesterday. Another is imagining everything that could go wrong. And in that internal noise, I don't move forward. And that's when it hit me. It's not just the external world. We're also our own attention thieves. The Stoics knew this. That's why Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations. Not for others, for himself. To clear his mind before the noise consumed it, to organize what he carried inside. So how do you apply all of this without turning into someone who's disconnected from the world? Very simple. Create sacred blocks of work. 1 hour. 2. However long you need for what matters. And in that block, everything that could interrupt you disappears. Not after you start, before phone away, notifications off, email closed, unneeded tabs shut down. Everything. If you wait to feel like doing it, you never will. Discipline isn't about resisting temptation. It's about designing an environment where temptation doesn't even get the chance to show up. Set boundaries with people who interrupt you too. Not with aggression, just clarity. A simple, "I can't right now, I'll help you later," is better than being available for everyone but yourself. Seneca said it bluntly. Not everyone around you has your best interest in mind. If you don't set boundaries, they'll drain you. And pay attention to the internal noise. Before you start working, write for 5 minutes everything that's on your mind. Get it out. Not to solve it, just to release it. To make room for what matters. Decide too when you'll rest, when you'll disconnect, and when you'll use your phone without guilt. Because conscious rest isn't distraction. Distraction is what steals from you without asking. Every distraction you allow is a small theft you don't feel in the moment. But by the end of the day, it turns into lost hours. And the Stoics understood this clearly. Life is measured by what you're able to focus on, not by what you do, by what you choose, by what you give attention to. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how much you can endure. It's about how much you're able to build. And no one builds anything while the world steals their attention piece by piece without them even realizing it. Lesson 4. Break the bubble. Your comfort zone is like a hot tub. At first, it's pleasant, warm, almost irresistible. But the longer you stay there, the more wrinkled you get, the stranger you start to smell. And yet you stay because it's comfortable. My friend, you don't even realize it. But that bubble that protects you so much is also suffocating you. And the worst part? You think stepping out of it means throwing yourself headfirst into a volcano, when really it's enough to just stick one foot out for things to start changing. You know who didn't stay inside his bubble? Epictetus. He understood it well. Difficulty shows what people are made of. And don't think he said that from a comfy chair with a glass of wine in his hand. He said it as a slave, living through discomfort every single day. And even then, he didn't settle for what he knew. He didn't cling to the safe. Because he understood that every time he stepped outside his comfort zone, every time he faced something hard, he discovered a new part of himself. Picture this. Your dream has always been to get up on a stage. You finally sign up for an improv theater class, full of excitement but with a knot in your stomach. You show up the first day and the first thing you see is professional actors warming up their voices, reciting Shakespeare from memory, looking at each other with confidence while you stand there sweating with your hands in your pockets. You feel like they're all staring at you, like a penguin in a chicken coop. Your legs shake and for a second you think about turning around and leaving. But you take a deep breath, break your bubble, and decide to stay. That night, unexpectedly, you laugh like you haven't in ages. You feel alive, happy, and each Tuesday you come back, you feel yourself improving a little more. You meet incredible people, make friends, and then the best part happens. One day they call you to act in your favorite play. Do you see? That little discomfort ends up teaching you more about yourself than all the years you spent feeling safe. Writer and speaker Elise Loehnen talks about exactly this. On her podcast, Pulling the Thread, she explains how making yourself uncomfortable on purpose is a way to find your true voice. She shares how, for a year, she forced herself to do one thing a week that made her sweat with discomfort. From asking a question in public to dancing alone at a wedding where she didn't know anyone. And each time she came out a little stronger, a little more confident, a little more herself. And yes, I know it's not easy. I know the very thought of it ties your stomach in knots. But I trust you can do it, and that every day you can take another step to be better than yesterday. So let's do like Elise. First, make a list of 5 things you always avoid out of fear. Write them down without holding back. Anything goes. It could be raising your hand in a meeting and sharing your opinion, asking for a discount in a store, singing at karaoke, or maybe inviting someone for coffee. Choose the easiest one and do it this week. Then change just one daily routine. Something simple. Walk a different route to work, sit at a different table in your usual cafe, talk to the person in the elevator and ask how they're doing. At first it'll feel strange, but your mind will start opening up to the new. Finally, set yourself a silly social challenge. Something almost comical but effective. You could compliment a stranger on their shoes, ask the barista how their day is going, or smile at the first neighbor you see even if you don't know them. Those little cracks in the bubble let in fresh air and make you feel alive. Now tell me, what step are you going to take this week to break your bubble? Leave it in the comments. We want to hear it and cheer you on, because sometimes just one single move is all it takes for everything to start changing. Lesson 5. Train your mind like a warrior. My friend, I'm sure this has happened to you, though you might not want to admit it. You wake up, feel unmotivated, check your phone for 20 minutes, jump from one social media app to another, don't know where to start your day, and you're drowning in thoughts like, I'm not good at this and I wish I were stronger. I hate to break it to you, but your mind has turned into a jungle with no map. And no, it's not that you don't have strength, it's that you haven't trained it. Your mind isn't a garden that blooms just because you wish it would. It's a battlefield. And like Marcus Aurelius said, the art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. It's not always graceful, or smooth, or pretty. Sometimes it's grit, discipline, fight. Stephen Bartlett, author and creator of the Diary of a CEO podcast, is a perfect example of this. For years he felt insecure, afraid of rejection, tormented by an inner voice that sabotaged everything. Until one day, he decided to change that voice. He realized he couldn't succeed at anything if his mind was working against him. So he started training it, every single day, like a warrior. Today, he's one of the most influential entrepreneurs in the UK, not because he has a perfect mind, but because he stopped treating it like a victim and started using it like a weapon. And this isn't just self-help talk. In psychology, there's something called learned resilience. You're not born with it. It's a skill, a capacity that gets built, strengthened, and reinforced like a muscle. And that only happens when you decide to work on yourself daily. Even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't see results right away, even when you're not sure you're doing it right. Picture a warrior. Do you think he only trains when there's a war? Of course not. He trains every day, even in times of peace, because he knows the battlefield can appear without warning. And your mind needs the same. It's not enough to wish for mental strength. You have to build it through routine, through discomfort, through resistance. So tell me, are you ready to train your mind the way it deserves? Because this is where the real work begins. First, do one uncomfortable thing every day. It doesn't have to be extreme. Maybe it's having that conversation you've been avoiding for weeks, or taking a cold shower for 30 seconds, or daring to say no when you usually say yes just to please people. What you do doesn't matter as much as the fact that you do it, that you take the wheel, even when the waters are rough. Second, train a key phrase, I get through this too. Say it out loud, write it down, repeat it when things get hard. Because repetition shapes identity. And if your identity starts to form around the belief that you can handle the tough stuff, then trust me, you will. Third, breathe before you react. Sounds simple, but it's powerful. Training your mind also means learning not to be a slave to your impulses. When you feel overwhelmed, when anxiety or anger is about to take over, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what would my stronger self, the one I'm building, do right now? Training your mind like a warrior doesn't mean you'll never fall. It means you'll know how to get up faster. That when the storm hits, you won't break, because you've already been through your own training. Remember, working on yourself every day isn't optional if what you want is real transformation. It's the only path. Sixth lesson. Turn your dreams into blueprints. There's a story that's always impressed me. It's about a brilliant man with ideas so big they could have changed the world. He dreamed of delivering free energy to the entire planet, imagined a wireless system to light up whole cities. In his mind, it was already done. He even sketched it all in detail in his notebooks and filled rooms with blueprints. But my friend, it never went beyond that. He worked, yes, but he was always missing something. Resources, support, the perfect moment. And while he waited, his health, his money, and his time slipped away. He died alone, his notebooks full of castles in the air. That man was Nikola Tesla. You might think that won't happen to you because your dreams aren't as crazy. But look closely. How many times have you said you're going to start your business, learn a language, change your life? And here you are. Your dreams are like castles in the air. Pretty, sure, but no one can live in them until you lay down the foundation. And the longer you wait to start, the further away they drift. I'm reminded of what Marcus Aurelius said. Do every act of your life as if it were your last. And no, I don't picture him putting off conquering his empire until inspiration struck or he bought the right toga. He did it, even if it wasn't perfect, because he knew there was no time to waste. Picture this, my friend. You've been saying for 3 years that you're going to launch your YouTube channel. You already have the perfect name in a folder, a logo designed by a friend, even an animated intro with epic music. You've even rehearsed in front of the mirror what you'll say in your first video. But every time it's time to record, you tell yourself you still don't have the right camera. You need a better mic. Today isn't a good day because you're tired. Meanwhile, you watch others start, make mistakes, learn, and get better, while you keep waiting for the perfect conditions. So, do you want to keep collecting pretty ideas or start building your reality? Do this. Choose just one goal and break it down. If your dream is to write a book, don't torment yourself over the table of contents or the chapters. Start with one paragraph today, even if it's bad. What matters is getting it out of your head and onto the page. Also, get yourself a notebook to force yourself to bring your dreams down to earth. Every week, write down one specific action with a date. No more someday. Give it a day and a time. And if you don't do it, double it the next week so your pride stings a little and you stop putting it off. And don't underestimate the power of something silly. Promise yourself a goofy reward for every step you take. When you finish your first video, have a croissant. When you write the first 3 pages of your book, do a ridiculous dance in your living room. That way your brain starts associating action with pleasure, not with suffering. So my friend, I ask you sincerely, are you going to keep dreaming or are you going to start building? Leave it in the comments and tell us. What's the first step you're going to take today to get closer to that dream? Remember, only by working on your dreams every single day, little by little, do you become someone better. And no one can do it for you. Lesson 7. Your environment should push you forward. Seneca said that there's no favorable wind for the one who doesn't know where they're going, but he might have added something more uncomfortable. There's no favorable wind for the one who lives surrounded by things that push them in the opposite direction. And you know this. Your environment affects you more than you want to admit. Far more. You can have the best intentions in the world, But if your surroundings are designed to distract you, you will lose. Not because you're weak, but because you're fighting an impossible battle. Imagine you want to eat healthy. You're full of motivation, full of discipline, but you open your kitchen and all you find are pastries, soda, processed bread, and chocolate. How long before you give in? A day? Maybe 2 if you're lucky. It's not a lack of willpower, it's your environment. Because your environment defines the path of least resistance. And no matter how stoic we try to be, humans tend to follow that path most of the time. The same thing happens with your focus. Your desk, your phone, your notifications, even the people around you. They either lift you up or drag you down. There's no middle ground. Your environment is like a current. If it flows in the right direction, you move forward almost effortlessly. If it flows against you, it wears you down, even when you're doing everything right. The Stoics knew this. That's why they were intentional about where they spent their time, how they organized their space, and who they surrounded themselves with. Because they understood something most people ignore. Willpower is secondary when your environment is aligned. But if your environment works against you, no amount of discipline will save you. Picture Epictetus in his small school in Nicopolis. No luxuries, no comfort. But something better. An environment designed for clarity. Few things, few distractions. A space where the mind could work without noise. That wasn't a coincidence. It was deliberate. Marcus Aurelius would retreat to write in quiet places, even during military campaigns, even in the middle of chaos, pressure, and war, because he knew that if he didn't protect his environment, his mind would collapse. Seneca lived simply by choice, not out of need, because he knew that what surrounds you shapes how you think, and if your environment is full of noise, your mind will be full of noise. Matt D'Avella, a creator who spent years talking about minimalism and intentional living, shared something revealing. He said he didn't improve his discipline through motivation, but through design. He removed the things that tempted him and added what supported him. His environment started making decisions for him. He didn't have to fight temptation, he just eliminated it. And once temptation was gone, discipline showed up naturally. Because discipline isn't about holding on heroically, it's about designing your life so that the right thing is the easiest thing to do. B.J. Fogg, an expert in behavioral design, puts it like this: your environment influences your behavior more than your motivation, much more. You can be highly motivated to stay focused, but if your phone vibrates every 5 minutes, you'll lose. You might want to do deep work, but if your desk is covered in cables, papers, mugs, and clutter, your mind will reflect that chaos. Wendy Wood, a habits researcher, goes further. She says environment defines 80% of automatic behavior, 80%. That's not a detail, that's almost everything. And still, most people try to change through motivation instead of changing their environment. Let me describe something you'll recognize. You're trying to focus on something important, but your desk is a mess. Papers you haven't touched in weeks, tangled cords, empty cups, random objects you don't even remember putting there. Your phone is right next to you, buzzing every few minutes. The TV is on in the background because you like some noise, and you wonder why you can't concentrate. It's not that you're incapable, it's that your environment is shouting at you from every angle. Your brain is trying to filter 100 stimuli at once, and when your brain is filtering, it's not focusing. Another scenario: you work in your living room. Your family comes in and out. They ask questions, they ask for help. Not because they're inconsiderate, but because you're always available. You've never drawn a boundary. You've never designed a space that says clearly, this is where I don't get interrupted. And then you get frustrated because you're not progressing. But the problem isn't your discipline. It's that your environment is designed to interrupt you. And an environment designed to interrupt you will always win. Anne-Laure Lecunff from Ness Labs talks about cognitive environment. Not just the physical space, but the digital one too. How many tabs you have open, how many apps you've installed, how many notifications you allow. All of that is part of your environment, and all of that affects your ability to focus. Simplifying your cognitive environment boosts your focus massively, because every element you remove is one less decision your brain has to make, one less temptation, one less point of friction. I discovered the power of environment the day I deleted every app from my phone except the essentials. It felt almost ridiculous. With no temptations, suddenly I was way more disciplined. My motivation hadn't changed. My willpower hadn't changed. My environment had. And when my environment changed, my behavior changed on its own. Because I no longer had to fight. There was nothing to fight against. Seneca would ask you something uncomfortable. What are you allowing to live around you that you don't want to live inside you? Because everything you let into your space eventually gets into your mind. If you allow chaos outside, you'll have chaos inside. If you allow distractions outside, you'll carry them inside. If you let people interrupt you constantly, you'll never have the peace of mind to do deep work. And this isn't about isolating yourself from the world. It's about protecting your space so you can give your best to the world. So, how do you design an environment that pushes you forward instead of holding you back? Start by making what matters visible and removing the visible distractions. If your priority is hidden in a folder but your phone is glowing on your desk, what do you think you'll do? Put what matters right in front of you. Make your project visible. Keep your 3 priorities where you can see them, and remove the rest. Use your phone as a tool, not as decoration. If you don't need it for the task, it shouldn't be there. Not just on silent, not face down, gone in another room. Because as long as it's there, part of your brain will be waiting for it to buzz. Create spaces free of noise, not just sound, but visual and mental noise. A clean desk, an orderly room, a space where your mind can settle without having to process 1,000 distractions. Surround yourself with people whose habits you admire. This is more subtle but just as powerful. If you spend time around people who value focus, you'll start to value focus. If you spend time around scattered people, you'll scatter too. Not because you're weak, because we're social animals. We absorb the behaviors of those around us. Always prep your environment for the next day's work. Before you finish today, set up your space for tomorrow. Close all your tabs, clean your desk. Leave only what you need visible, because if you walk in tomorrow and your space is ready, you'll begin. But if you have to clean, sort, and search before you can even start, you've already lost momentum. The friction killed your impulse before it even had a chance. James Clear puts it simply. Environment is the catalyst for habits. Changing your environment is easier than changing your behavior. And when you change your environment, your behavior follows naturally, not as some heroic struggle, but as a byproduct, because your brain will always choose the easiest option. And if the easiest option is the right one, you win. But if the easiest option is the wrong one, you lose. It doesn't matter how disciplined you are. The perfect environment doesn't exist. But an environment that forces you to move forward does. And when you adjust it, your mind stops fighting 1,000 distractions and finally starts moving without friction. That's discipline too, not gritting your teeth through temptation, but designing a life where temptation doesn't exist, where the right choice is the obvious one, where focus is the path of least resistance. That's where you win, not in a daily battle against yourself, but in the design of an environment that fights for you. Lesson 8. Pick your own traps. Ah, my friend, excuses, excuses. You know them all, don't you? You don't have time. It's not the right moment. You need to fix 1,000 things before you can start. Believe me, I've been there too. I remember perfectly the time when I'd go around saying, very seriously, that I didn't have time to learn French. I repeated it so many times it even sounded convincing, almost professional, like I was too busy saving the world. But one day, I don't know why, I decided to actually time where my hours were going, and it became painfully clear. I spent 2 hours watching recipe videos on YouTube that I never cooked, 15 minutes staring at the washing machine spin as if it were some deep meditation, and suddenly, I'd find myself reorganizing the sock drawer for the 3rd time. It was ridiculous, but I kept looking for little distractions to not have time. as if I wanted to confirm my own excuse. I was setting traps for myself everywhere and then pretending I didn't see them. Maybe you do the same. You say you can't because you have to take care of your mom, because the plants won't water themselves, because your boss asked for an urgent report. And meanwhile, that course you've been excited about is still there, waiting for you in a browser tab. It's like each excuse is a little mousetrap you've set on your own path, and then you pretend they're not there. Breaking those traps isn't comfortable, but it's the first step if you really want to start being better today. Epictetus said it clearly. Don't demand that things happen as you wish. Wish for them to happen as they do, and you'll be happy. He didn't waste time whining about how hard everything was or dreaming of perfect scenarios. If something didn't go his way, he adjusted course and kept moving. Because excuses don't change reality, they just delay it. And the sooner you understand that, the sooner you start walking toward the life you want. This also happened to Ali Abdal. He had studied medicine and was working as a doctor, but deep down he was far more excited about his YouTube project. For years, he set himself 1,000 traps to avoid taking the leap. He told himself he couldn't throw away all those years of study, that his parents would be disappointed, that it wasn't the right time. Until one day he got fed up. He started working on his channel every day, improving without waiting for conditions to be perfect. Today, he helps thousands of people grow their businesses and found his purpose. His excuse, "I have to stay because I studied this," was nothing but fear. And you? How many traps have you already set for yourself today? Don't you think it's time to really improve? Next time you catch yourself saying, "It's just that," here's how to step out of your own trap. First, write down your most common excuse in a note on your phone and set it as your wallpaper. Every time you unlock your screen and read, "I don't have time," "It's too late, I can't right now," you'll feel a little embarrassed about clinging to the same lie. Then, replace it with a tiny action. If you say you don't have time to run, for example, put your sneakers by the bed and at least go for a 10-minute walk. It doesn't matter if you don't run a marathon. What matters is breaking the inertia. And finally, tell your excuse to someone you trust and ask them to call you out the next time you say it. Nobody likes being called out in public, trust me. It works. The things you want most are hiding right behind your favorite excuses. So, are you going to keep hugging them, or finally break them? 9th lesson. Make friends with uncomfortable effort. Epictetus once said something brutal. Do you want to improve? Then get ready to be called a fool. In other words, prepare to be uncomfortable, to do things you don't know how to do, to fail in front of others, to feel clumsy. Because progress doesn't live where you feel safe. It lives exactly where discomfort begins, and most people run from that place their entire lives. That's why they never truly move forward. You notice it when something hard shows up and your first instinct is to escape. You open social media, get up, check your email, postpone, invent an urgent excuse. Anything to avoid staying in that discomfort. Discomfort scares you. It makes you nervous, it makes you doubt. But that's exactly where focus is born. Right there. In the moment your body begs you to flee and you choose to stay, that's the battle. And most people lose before it even begins. A muscle grows when it's pushed beyond comfort. So does discipline. If you don't embrace discomfort, you'll never develop mental strength. It's impossible. The Stoics knew it. Virtue is born from effort, not ease. You can't build something valuable by only doing what's easy. Because the easy won't transform you. It keeps you exactly the same. And staying the same in a changing world is falling behind. Picture Marcus Aurelius writing late into a freezing night. Tired, drained, doubting whether it made sense to keep writing, but he wrote anyway. Not because he felt like it, because he knew discomfort was part of the path. He knew that if he only worked when he felt inspired, he'd never create anything meaningful. Because what matters always requires pushing when you don't want to. It always requires staying when everything inside you wants to quit. It always demands staying uncomfortable just a little longer. David Perel says something brilliant. Progress begins when you give yourself permission to be bad at the beginning. The Stoics would have applauded that, because they understood that everything worthwhile begins in incompetence. It starts awkward, It starts messy, it starts feeling like you don't know what you're doing, and most people quit right there because they can't stand feeling unskilled. They'd rather not try than try and feel foolish. But those who move forward are the ones who befriend that feeling, the ones who say, "It's okay to feel like this. This is part of the process. This is what growth feels like." Kelly McGonigal, a psychologist who spent years studying effort, discovered something fascinating. Effort produces dopamine and motivation, not before the effort, but during it. When you push through discomfort, your brain rewards you. Not because it feels good in the moment, but because it knows you're making progress. Andrew Huberman explains this from a neuroscience angle. Discomfort activates your brain's motor systems. When you face something hard, your brain wakes up. It gets alert. It prepares for action, but only if you stay. If you flee, you never access that power. Julian Smith wrote a book called The Flinch. The flinch is that automatic pullback when something makes you uncomfortable. That survival instinct telling you, step away from what hurts, and that's fine for staying alive, but terrible for growing. Because growth means walking straight into what scares you, what challenges you, what makes you hesitate. The Stoics trained that muscle constantly. Seneca talked about exposing yourself voluntarily to hardship, not because they were masochists, because they knew that if you only live in comfort, real difficulty will crush you when it finally shows up. Let me paint you something you've surely lived. You need to start your hardest task of the day, you know it. It's right there. But instead of starting, you open social media, just for a second, then email, then something irrelevant. Suddenly half an hour's gone and you haven't started. Not because you're lazy, but because you fled from discomfort. Another example, you sit down to work on something big. Suddenly something urgent appears. A call, a message, a task that suddenly seems critical but it's not urgent. It's your brain inventing a way to avoid the discomfort of real work. Or this one. You know waking up early would help you. But when the alarm rings, your body fights back. Your mind starts negotiating, just 5 more minutes, it's cold. I'm tired, I'll start tomorrow, and you lose. Not because you lack discipline, but because you haven't made discomfort your friend. You chose short-term comfort over long-term growth, and immediate comfort always wins, unless you train the opposite. Epictetus taught something clear. Discomfort is training, not punishment, not something to avoid. It's the tool, the gym for your mind. Every time you stay with discomfort, you get stronger. Every time you push when you don't feel like it, you train your focus. Because focus isn't doing what you love, that's easy. Focus is doing what matters, even when you don't love it, even when your body wants to run, even when every fiber of you says, stop. Marcus Aurelius forced himself to act when he didn't want to. He wrote something that should be engraved in the mind of anyone seeking discipline. Do what your nature requires, not what your comfort demands. Your nature, as a human being, is to grow, to move forward, to build. But comfort whispers, stay still, don't risk it, don't struggle. And if you listen to comfort long enough, you start dying slowly. Not physically, but mentally, spiritually, because you abandon the person you could become. So how do you become friends with uncomfortable effort without turning into someone who suffers for the sake of it? Start without needing to feel ready. Don't wait for motivation, it won't come. Begin uncomfortable, begin unwilling. Begin knowing the first minutes will be a fight and do it anyway. Expose yourself to voluntary discomfort daily. It can be small. A cold shower, waking up early, doing the hard task first, training when it's cold. Anything your body wants to avoid and you choose to do. Stay with the task 30 seconds longer when you want to quit. That's the critical point. When you think you can't keep going. When your brain begs you to stop. Stay just 30 more seconds. That's where you grow. That's where your focus expands. Reframe discomfort as a sign of growth. Not as your enemy, but as your guide. When discomfort shows up, it doesn't mean something's wrong. It means something's growing. Your mind, your discipline, your ability to do hard things. Ness Labs talks about voluntary exposure to effort as a tool for focus, because when you train your tolerance to discomfort, everything else becomes easier. Not because the world changes, because you're stronger, and a stronger person doesn't need things to be easy to move forward. They move forward anyway. Uncomfortable but moving. Scared but acting, doubtful but doing. Discomfort isn't your enemy, it's a doorway. The Stoics walked toward it because they knew what lived behind it. Strength, clarity, real discipline. Not the discipline of Instagram, the discipline that holds you up when everything else fails. When motivation's gone, when no one's watching, when you could quit without consequence. That discipline is born in discomfort. And if you keep running from discomfort, you're running from your best self. Because that version of you doesn't live in ease. It lives exactly where it's hardest to reach. And getting there isn't optional if you truly want to focus. It's the path. And listen. Lesson 10. Design habits that have your back. Picture this. You want to take care of your health, manage your weight, feel good about yourself. You leave work convinced that today's the day, but without even realizing, you pass by that same bakery as always, just to grab something, and end up walking out with a bag of pastries that's gone before you even get home. My friend, that's how habits work when you leave them to run wild. They control you like invisible puppet strings. You can't see them, but they decide how you move. Now imagine one day you dare to do something different. You take another route home, skip the bakery, and without meaning to, you find yourself walking past a little bookstore. At first you go in out of curiosity, flip through a few books. The next day you do it again. And little by little, you discover that every afternoon you end up reading there for a while. No more bakery, no more guilt. Now you've got something that actually does you good. That's how habits work in your favor. Small changes that settle in and back you up when you need them most. I had to learn the hard way that habits take you, whether you like it or not, to where you are now. And if you choose them well, they can also take you where you want to go. I remember one random Monday when I decided to schedule in my calendar that every Monday at 7 in the morning, I'd sit in a cafe and write. At first it was uncomfortable. Every Monday felt like a little battle with myself not to stay in bed. But I stuck with it. And over time, it became automatic. So much so that now the barista already has the usual waiting for me and saves my spot by the window. And thanks to that simple habit, today I'm achieving things I used to only dream about. Because the hard part isn't starting anymore. It's stopping. The Stoics knew this by experience, not theory. Aristotle, whom they quoted over and over, said that excellence is built through habit. Nobody wakes up one day with perfect habits. You earn them by repeating. Nobody becomes disciplined overnight. That's something you work on day after day, even when your motivation is more absent than your friend on moving day. And for that very reason, can you imagine what Seneca would be like today? Picture him at the gym. He'd probably wear one of those shirts that says, "Habits over motivation," don't you think? Meticulously writing down each set of sit-ups in his notebook like they were eternal merits. It might sound funny, but they understood clearly that repeating the right thing day after day was the only way to get better. You probably know Cal Newport, author of Deep Work and a productivity expert. He always says habits keep you from relying on motivation. Because motivation comes and goes, but habit sticks. One of his favorite pieces of advice is to start so small you can't fail. And another, design your environment so the habit becomes inevitable. For example, leave your guitar in the middle of the living room if you want to practice, or turn off notifications if you want to focus. So, are you ready to let your habits fight for you when you're weak? First, pick a habit so easy you can't fail. Something minimal, like drinking a glass of water when you wake up, or doing 10 squats before putting on your shoes. The idea is to make it so simple you have no excuse not to do it. Next, tie that habit to another one you already do without thinking. For example, while waiting for the water to boil for tea, do 20 push-ups or stretch your arms and back. You don't need more time, just a little creativity. And finally, leave visible reminders in your environment. Put a book on your pillow to read before bed, or leave your sneakers by the door so you'll go out for a walk without thinking about it. That way, your surroundings push you in the right direction, even when you don't have the strength. You are what you repeat every day. Let your habits speak well of you when you can't, because every small gesture you make today is a better version of yourself being built, step by step. Lesson 11. Stop looking for shortcuts. You've got your phone in your hand, again. Another video about how to make easy money from home. And you whisper to yourself, almost like you don't want anyone to hear, what if this one actually works? But hold on. Stop for a second and be honest with yourself. Do you really believe someone on the internet is going to hand you a magic formula that fixes your life? Do you think Marcus Aurelius, if he saw you right now with that "this one's the winner" face, wouldn't let out a stoic laugh before telling you to snap back to reality? My friend, this isn't judgment, it's a reminder. If you're looking for the easy way, you're moving away from real growth. We live in an age where everything has to be fast. Fast internet, fast food, fast success. We want results without effort, change without sacrifice, peace of mind without ever confronting our inner noise. You find yourself trying out yet another productivity method, another app, another system promising magical results. You go in hopeful, and of course at some point you burn out, because deep down you know that's not what you need. That's exactly what happened to Nathaniel Drew, the YouTuber who often talks about personal growth. He fell into that trap too. For years, obsessed with being more productive, he tried it all. Apps, hyper-detailed schedules, high-performance habits. And yeah, it looked like he was making progress. But inside, he felt drained, empty, because all that effort was directed outward, toward what people could see. And what really mattered, his peace, his clarity, his purpose, was still untouched. If you've been in the same place, let me tell you something that might sting a bit. Personal transformation doesn't come in the form of a crash course or a motivational video with epic music. It comes when you force yourself to work on you every single day, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's slow. And no, of course it's not all your fault. There's something called instant gratification, and your brain is wired to chase it. It's that urge to stop reading and check your phone, to quit the gym after 2 weeks, to jump from one idea to another without finishing any of them. Because hard things are exhausting, because the things that truly matter cost you something. But if you don't see that clearly, you'll spend your life starting things you never finish. So, if you're really ready to stop chasing shortcuts, I've got a challenge for you. Don't try to change everything at once. Just choose one thing, one skill, that one thing you know would make a real difference. And commit to it for 1 month. No distractions, no hopping from one idea to the next. Just that. Then, every week, create a small ritual. A space just for you to check in, to celebrate the tiny wins. Don't focus on the big results yet. Celebrate the things you used to avoid entirely. And yes, the moment will come. That day when you think, this is way too slow. And right then, that's when you'll take a deep breath and repeat something I want you to tattoo onto your mind. This is real, not fast. Because when you stop demanding speed, you allow depth to show up. And that's where true change begins. So next time you feel tempted to try the next miracle method, remember this. The real path isn't skipped, it's walked. And the more you try to dodge it, the further you drift from yourself. Marcus Aurelius said it loud and clear. Do your job. Not like a victim, not for pity or applause. Do it simply because it's your duty. Don't promise yourself fast results. Promise yourself that you won't give up. Because the one who stops looking for shortcuts and commits to working on themselves, that's the one who truly transforms. Lesson 12. Do you know why you're here? Ah, yes, purpose. You've probably heard that word so many times by now that you don't even know what to think of it anymore. Some people throw it around like it's some kind of magic spell. Say it 3 times and boom, an epiphany drops from the sky with fireworks. But let me ask you something. Have you really stopped to think about why it's so important? Have you heard of the Okinawan community in Japan? There, many people live well past 100 and still smile like life is just getting started. What's their secret? They're clear about their ikigai, their reason to get out of bed in the morning. It might be tending a garden, teaching the younger generation, or keeping a family tradition alive. What matters is they live with intention. They're not just surviving, they're living. And they do it knowing exactly what they're here for. No, of course it's not easy to find your purpose. There's no map for it, and no one's going to hand it to you in a neatly wrapped box. But if you don't search for it, if you don't pursue it intentionally, you'll spend your life building someone else's dream while yours rots in a corner. And believe me, no one deserves that. There was a time in my life when I felt exactly like that, like I was moving forward just because, until I found something that helped a lot. Ryan Holiday's Stoic meditations. They're not magical, but they're powerful. They make you face yourself, your excuses, the things you've been ignoring. And little by little, you start to see more clearly what drives you and what you're just dragging along out of habit. Now imagine this. You wake up, go to work, do what you're supposed to do, come home, eat dinner, scroll your phone, go to sleep, and repeat. But inside you feel disconnected. No spark. Like someone else is holding the remote to your life, and you're just following the script without ever questioning it. My friend, do you really believe you came into this world just to do what you're told? Is that what we call living? It's time to open your eyes. You need to reconnect with that fire inside you. And you're probably wondering, okay, but how do I do that? Well, it's not as hard as it seems. Start by identifying your core values. Ask yourself what things make you feel proud of who you are when you do them. Helping others, creating something, learning something new, doing something just for you. That feeling of meaning, that's not random. It's a clue. Then make time for activities that actually make you feel like you're growing, that give you energy. Maybe it's writing that book, learning to play an instrument, or simply going for a walk every day with a good podcast. Sometimes it's not your life that needs to change. It's how you live your day. Turn off your phone while you eat breakfast. Say no to what drains you. Use your free hour to grow, not just distract yourself. And be mindful of the people around you. Because if you're constantly surrounded by people who are dimmed, who only complain, who aren't excited about anything, then, yeah, it's normal if you start to feel the same. Surround yourself with those who remind you of your worth, who inspire you to reach for more. Purpose isn't just something you find inside. It shows up in how you relate to the world, too. Remember this, purpose isn't some mystical thing. Marcus Aurelius said that each person must do what they were made for by nature. And when you live from that place, everything starts to make sense. And it all starts with working on yourself every day, acting from who you are, not from what others expect of you. Happiness, in the end, isn't found in some distant goal. It's in living each minute with intention, with integrity, with gratitude. Like Dennis Waitley said, happiness is the experience of living every minute with love, grace, and gratitude. But don't fool yourself. This doesn't just happen. You have to work at it. You have to choose it every day. You have to force yourself to grow, even when it's hard. Now I want to hear from you. Have you found your purpose, or are you still searching without knowing where to begin? What are you going to do today to get a little closer to what truly moves you? Share it in the comments, and let's inspire each other to keep building from within. Lesson 13. Build a day that pushes you forward, not one that holds you back. Tell me the truth. Is your day designed to help you or to drain you? Because a lot of people live through days they didn't choose, reactive days, chaotic days, days full of other people's urgencies, days that start with grabbing the phone in bed and end without even remembering where the hours went. Epictetus would have called that living like a slave to your environment. And honestly, he'd be right. Because if you don't design your day, someone else will. Your boss, your notifications, your emergencies. Anyone but you. Picture Marcus Aurelius waking up before sunrise. He didn't rush to check messages. He didn't dive into chaos. He had a ritual, mentally preparing for the battle of the day. He knew ruling an empire at war required clarity. It required intention. It required designing his day instead of reacting to it. And you have a battle too. Yours begins the moment you open your eyes and let your phone hijack your attention, before your mind is even ready. Your day is a construction. Each block is an hour. Each hour is a choice. If you don't design it, someone else will. The Stoics built their days with intention. We, more often than not, build ours with urgency. And then we wonder why we end the day exhausted, without having moved forward on what truly matters. It's not bad luck. It's a lack of architecture. Thomas Frank, a creator who spent years talking about productivity without falling into the trap of empty motivation, once said his life changed the moment he stopped improvising his days. He said something Seneca could have written himself. If I design my day, I have freedom. If I let the day design me, I lose. Because freedom isn't doing whatever you want whenever you want. Freedom is having a structure that protects what matters from getting eaten up by noise. Here comes the uncomfortable part. Most people hate the word routine. They associate it with boredom, with rigidity, with monotony. But the Stoics saw routine differently. They saw it as protection, as a wall against chaos, as a way to ensure that what matters gets space in your day without having to fight for it every time. Routine isn't rigidity, it's liberation. Because when you create blocks for deep work, when you include real breaks, when you have a start-of-day ritual and a closing ritual, you stop wasting energy deciding what to do every 2 hours. You already decided. Now, you just execute. Dan Ariely, a leading researcher in human behavior, discovered something the Stoics already sensed. The first hours of the day carry the most mental energy. Your brain is fresh. Your willpower is strong. Your ability to focus is at its peak. And most people waste those hours on email, messages, social media, and other people's fires. By noon, they're drained, and then they try to do the important stuff when nothing's left in the tank. That's building your day backwards. Daniel Pink, author of When, explains that your performance runs in rhythms. You're not equally productive at 9 a.m. and 4 p.m., but people keep treating all hours like they're the same. They load their schedule without thinking about when they're best suited for what. The Stoics didn't do that. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations when his mind was clear. Seneca reviewed his day at night, when he could reflect without pressure. Two different moments, one shared purpose, to rule their time instead of being ruled by it. Let me show you two scenarios. First day, you open your phone in bed, check your messages, see something stressful. You're already in emergency mode before your feet hit the floor. You eat breakfast scrolling through the news. You get to work and start answering emails. Then someone asks for something. Then another urgent thing pops up. Then you knock out a bunch of small tasks. By midday, your energy is gone. You try to do something meaningful in the afternoon, but your brain is fried. You end the day feeling like you worked a lot but got nowhere. It's not that you're lazy. It's that your day was designed to drain you, not to push you. Second day, you get up without touching your phone. You have a starting ritual. It can be simple. Coffee, 5 minutes of silence, one question. What do I want to create today? You review your 3 priorities. Then you dive into your first deep work block. 90 minutes with no interruptions, no emails, no messages, nothing but your top priority. You take a real break, not checking social media, a real pause. Then another block, lighter, less intense, tasks that require less energy. At the end of the day, you have a closing ritual. You shut down mental tabs. You write down what worked and what didn't. You unplug. And when you unplug, you actually unplug. You're not still thinking about work at midnight. You end the day tired, but with that feeling of real. So, how do you build a day that pushes you forward? Start by creating blocks of true focus, not scattered hours. Blocks, with clear beginnings and endings, where every part of you is fully engaged in one thing. Create a start ritual, something that tells your brain, now the important work begins. It can be as simple as closing all tabs, setting a 90-minute timer, taking 3 deep breaths, and starting. Create an end ritual too, something to shut the day down, something that helps you let go. It can be writing 3 lines about what you did. It can be a walk, Whatever it is, let it mark a boundary between work and rest. Cut down on repetitive decisions. Don't waste energy every morning deciding what to eat, what to wear, or when to work. Decide once. Automate it. James Clear puts it well. Habits are systems, and systems free up space to think about what really matters. Leave breathing room in your day. Don't cram everything in. If every minute is packed, when one thing falls apart, the whole day collapses. Define your minimum viable day. Those days when everything goes wrong, when life throws you something unexpected. What's the minimum you can do to stop the day from being a total waste? Define that. And when everything else falls apart, do at least that. Emma Seppala, a researcher at Stanford, talks about balance without anxiety, about productivity that doesn't destroy you. And she's right. Because a well-designed day isn't one where you work 16 hours non-stop. It's a day where you do what matters, rest deeply, and finish with the feeling that you moved forward, without burning out. The Stoics weren't trying to be machines, they were trying to live well. And living well takes structure that holds you up, not one that crushes you. The perfect day doesn't exist, but a designed day does. And a designed day brings you closer to your ideal life. The Stoics didn't improvise their virtue. They worked on it every morning and reviewed it every night. Do the same with your attention. Design your day before the day designs you. Because in the end, it's not about how much you work, it's about how you work. And whether your day pushes you toward what matters or keeps you stuck in the noise of what's urgent. Lesson 14. Your schedule should work for you. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The clock keeps ticking while you rush around the house, coffee in one hand, phone in the other, and a storm of thoughts spinning in your head. You're late for work, but really, you were already running late for breakfast, the workout you skipped, and the rest you never gave yourself. And the worst part isn't the chaos, my friend. It's that you don't even know what you're rushing toward. Who's running your schedule? You. Or the chaos? People often say they don't have time, that they wish the day had 30 hours. But here's the truth. The problem isn't lack of time. It's how badly we use it. Sure, you're busy, I won't argue that. But busy with what? That's exactly what Seneca said. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And he said this over 2,000 years ago, long before Instagram, Netflix, and emails that multiply like gremlins. If he could already see people wasting their lives back then, imagine what he'd say now if he saw you trapped between notifications, endless series, and tasks you do just because. But really ask yourself, how many of those things are actually getting you closer to the life you want? Content creator Matt D'Avella has an approach that helped me a lot. Design your day like you're a business. A business with no structure? It doesn't work. Neither do you. He talks about time blocking, scheduling real breaks, and most importantly, choosing your priorities with intention. Because the alternative is letting the day sweep you away, then lying in bed at night wondering why you feel like you didn't get anywhere. And if you need hard numbers, here's one. A study from Ohio University found that people who write down just 3 priorities each morning increase their productivity and overall well-being by up to 40%. Just 3 things. Not an endless to-do list. Not 15 half-finished tasks. 3. Clear. Specific. Now I know what you're thinking. That you can't. That your life is chaos. That there's too much out of your control. But what if you stopped trying to control everything and started with just one thing? Your time. It's not easy. Of course not. But I promise you, if you don't do it, no one else will do it for you. I used to feel trapped too. Until I tried something different. Every morning before I check my phone, I write down 3 things I want to accomplish that day. No more. Just 3. If I finish them, great. If I don't, at least I know where to begin tomorrow. Then I use a technique I call uncomfortable first. I tackle the hardest task of the day first, the one I least want to do. And once it's done, everything else feels lighter. And this part is crucial. Schedule your breaks. Yes, like an important meeting, because they are. Rest isn't a reward you give yourself for being good. It's part of the system. If you don't recharge, you shut down. So start today. Don't wait for the perfect day. Just make small adjustments. And if you mess up one day, adjust the next. What matters isn't perfection, it's consistency. Your schedule should work for you, not against you. Time isn't about how much you have, it's about how you use it. And if you make it a habit to give your time direction, you won't just reclaim your hours, you'll reclaim your life. Remember this, you're not just watching the clock. You get to decide what you do with every minute. So design your day with the same intention you use to dream about your future. Because if you don't manage your time will manage you. My friend, if you've made it this far, it's because you're doing the work. Because you're done living on autopilot. You're ready to transform. But stick with me, because what comes next is the most revealing part yet. The key that can make the difference between falling back into your old ways or changing everything. Lesson 15. Automate what doesn't deserve your energy. Seneca said that life slips away in the small things, and he was right. We don't lose it in big, dramatic decisions. We lose it in the countless little choices we repeat every single day without thinking. What to eat, what to wear, when to start, what to do first. The mind burns out before it ever reaches what really matters. That's why if you want to truly focus, you need to automate. Not because you're a robot, but because you're human. And humans have a limited supply of mental energy that runs out much faster than you think. Think about your mornings. You wake up, you decide whether or not to have breakfast, then what to have, then what to wear. You scroll through your messages aimlessly. You choose what task to start with. You debate whether to work out. You ask yourself when to begin, whether to check email first or later. See it. Before you've even started working on something important, you've made 20 decisions, and each one drained a bit of your mental energy. Marcus Aurelius would have cut that in half, because he understood something crucial. If you decide less, you do more. The mind is like a reservoir. Every decision takes a bit of water from it, and by the time you reach the moment that matters, creating something, working deeply, thinking clearly, there's barely anything left. You're exhausted before you even begin, not because you worked too much, but because you decided too much. Automating isn't about being rigid. It's not about being boring. It's about not wasting water on things that don't matter, so you still have it when it does. Ali Abdaal says one of the biggest changes in his productivity wasn't working more hours. It was automating what he could. Weekday meals, recording schedules, editing routines. Not out of obsession, not to be a control freak, but because he wanted to save his energy for what really mattered. For creating, for thinking, for doing work that required his best. And your best won't show up if you've spent all your energy deciding pointless things. Roy Baumeister, a psychologist who studied self-control for decades, found something sobering. Too many decisions severely weaken your willpower. He called it ego depletion. Every little choice you make chips away at your ability to stay disciplined. That's why people struggle more in the afternoons. That's why it's harder to focus after a day full of small decisions. It's not that you're weak, it's that you've burned all your fuel on things that never deserved it. Picture Epictetus starting his day. He wouldn't waste half an hour figuring out what to do first. He wouldn't check messages at random. He wouldn't improvise every morning. He'd have a simple ritual. Repeat what already works to free his mind for what truly matters. Because the Stoics understood something we've forgotten. The mind needs structure, not as a prison, but as a scaffold. Something that holds you up so you can build high. B.J. Fogg, a behavioral design expert, puts it this way: automatic habits work because they remove friction. You don't have to choose, you just act. And when you don't have to choose, your energy stays intact for what actually needs it. James Clear talks about using triggers to automate habits. After this, I always do that. Not because you decided each time, but because you decided once and now you just follow through. Dr. Jason Selk, a high-performance psychologist for elite athletes, uses predictable routines to protect mental energy because athletes can't show up to competition mentally drained by trivial choices. They need full energy for the critical moment. Let me paint you something you probably know well. You start your day feeling overwhelmed because your morning is packed with tiny decisions. You spend 20 minutes picking an outfit, then deciding on breakfast, then which playlist to play, then which task to start, then whether or not to work out. Each decision drains you, dulls you, wears you down before you even begin. Another scenario. You want to work out, but every day you debate whether to go. And that debate is a war. Motivation versus laziness, willpower versus fatigue. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But if you work out at 7 a.m. every day no matter what, there's no battle, no debate. It's already decided. All that's left is to follow through. Marcus Aurelius had reflection rituals in the morning and at night. They didn't change. He didn't improvise. These were mental automations that helped prepare his mind for the day and shut it down at night. Seneca championed a structured life. The repetition of useful habits, because he knew that structure frees you. It doesn't imprison you. It frees your mind from having to reinvent everything every single day. Epictetus taught that you should prepare your mind before you act. That's emotional automation, knowing how you'll respond before the stimulus shows up, not reacting, acting on what you already decided. My turning point came when I decided my mornings would always be the same. Water, coffee, 10 minutes of mental review, write, work. No reinventing the day, no guessing what to do first. Suddenly, everything flowed. And the funny thing, I felt more free, not less. Because freedom isn't having 1,000 choices every morning. Freedom is not having to waste energy on small decisions so you can use it on the big ones, the ones that matter, the ones that actually build something real. So how do you apply this without turning into some rigid robot living on autopilot with no life? Start by automating your mornings. Decide once what your ideal morning looks like and repeat it. Same breakfast, same start time, same ritual. Not because it's magic, but because it removes friction. Automate your weekday meals, not all of them, just the ones that don't matter. Plan your meals on Sunday, one decision, not 21. Automate your work hours. Don't choose every day when to begin. Start at the same time. Keep the same block. Your brain will adjust. It'll prepare. It'll know what to expect. Automate shutdown rituals. Something that signals to your brain, it's done, you can let go. Don't make it up every night. Create a closing routine. It can be simple. Write 3 lines, close all tabs, walk for 10 minutes. Whatever works, but always the same. Avoid repetitive decisions that drain you. Anything you do more than 3 times a week should be automated. Clothes picked out the night before, desk cleaned before ending the day. Tasks for tomorrow planned before shutting down today. Anything you can decide once and execute later, do it. Have templates for what you repeat. Standard email replies, work structures, formats. Whatever you do regularly shouldn't start from scratch every time. Cut friction wherever you can. Because every friction point is a chance to quit. And if you automate, the friction disappears. There's no moment where you can negotiate with yourself. There's only action. Epictetus would have smiled seeing how much you complicate starting your day. He knew that clarity comes before action, that preparing your mind and space is part of the work, not something separate. And automation is exactly that. Preparing in a way that when it's time to act, nothing stands in your way, nothing to decide, nothing to debate, just forward motion. Automation is pure Stoicism, removing what gets in the way so you can focus on what matters. It's not about being rigid, it's about being wise with your energy. It's understanding that your decision-making power is limited, that your willpower runs out, that your mental energy is your most precious resource, and every small decision you make is stealing from your ability to do something great. Because while you're deciding what to have for breakfast, someone else is already deep into what matters. And not because they're more disciplined, but because they automated the trivial to focus on the essential. Lesson 16. What you repeat is who you are. You tell yourself that this Monday is the one, that you're starting fresh, that this time you're taking your project, your mental peace, your New Year's goals seriously. And then Friday comes, and there you are again, eating your anxiety with a side of fries, telling yourself, "I'll start on Monday." But my friend, the problem isn't that you fail. We all do. The real problem is that you don't sustain anything. Your life has become a list of fresh starts that never become habits. And without repetition, there's no transformation. Have you ever stopped to think about what you're repeating every day without even noticing? Because here's the strange part. Even when you think you're doing nothing, you're still repeating things. Maybe you repeat phrases like, "I can't, I'll start tomorrow. This isn't for me." Maybe you repeat the same excuse, the same distraction, the same way of giving up. And that, little by little, is shaping you more than any dream you have. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He didn't sit down to write in his journal every day for show. He did it because he knew something most of us forget. What you repeat, you reinforce. Every single day, without fail, he reviewed his principles, reminded himself of what he wanted to nurture and what he wanted to cut out at the root. And because of that repetition, he didn't just become emperor of Rome, he became emperor of himself. What you do every day is no small thing. It's your identity under construction. You're not what you dream of or what you plan to do one day. You are what you do each morning when the alarm goes off. And with that in mind, let me share something Mel Robbins once said. In an interview, she explained that her life didn't change because she made some epic decision or took an expensive course. It changed when she stopped hitting the snooze button. That moment, she said, was the first time I decided to be the kind of person who follows through on what they say. And from that moment, everything started to build. So if you also want to change but don't know where to start, try this. First, choose one habit you want to lock in, not 10. Don't try to change your whole life overnight. Just one. Getting up with the first alarm. Walking for 10 minutes. Writing down one idea each morning. Something small but consistent. Then use the phrase, "I'm someone who," followed by the habit you chose. This isn't silly. You're telling your brain, this is part of my identity now. For example, I'm someone who gets up when the alarm rings. It's not just something you do, it's something you are. And finally, track your habit streak each week. Doesn't matter if it's on an app or a paper on your fridge. What matters is that you see the chain grow, that you visualize your consistency. Because once you've done it 3, 5, 10 days in a row, you won't want to break that chain. It becomes a kind of game with yourself, and that reinforces your commitment more than any motivational speech. My friend, you don't need to stage a revolution. You don't need to change everything in a day, but you do need to repeat the right things, day after day, even in silence, even when no one's watching, because that, and only that, is what truly transforms you. Now tell us in the comments, what's that small habit you're going to repeat until it defines you? What's that daily action that's going to become your engine? We're reading the community. 17th lesson. Win the battle at dawn. Let me ask you a simple question. What are your mornings like? Think about it. Do you wake up with plenty of time, or do you jump out of bed late, heart already racing? Do you have a calm breakfast, or do you drink your coffee standing up while searching for your keys and replying to a message? Do you even look at yourself in the mirror? Or do you run out the door without stopping for a second to remember who you are? My friend, you might not see it, but the way you start the day is the way you live it. If your morning is chaos, your whole day will be too. Mornings are like the foundation of a house. Nobody sees them, nobody comments on them, but they hold up everything that comes after. If they're solid, you can build anything on top. If not, sooner or later everything wobbles. Picture your ideal morning. You wake up without rushing, your head clear. You give yourself a few minutes to feel the ground under your feet, to breathe deeply. You sip your coffee calmly while the rest of the world is still asleep. Maybe you read a few lines. Think about how you'll respond to the day instead of just reacting to it. And when you walk out the door, you're already a Stoic warrior, ready for whatever comes. Don't think this is trivial. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, explains that small morning actions trigger a positive chain reaction for the whole day. That feeling of having done something good early on gives you momentum to keep making good choices, even when problems come. Mornings are the spark that lights the rest. Marcus Aurelius said the same thing, and he lived it. Before facing enemies, bureaucracy, and betrayals across the empire, he would write to remind himself that simply being alive was already a privilege. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive. That kept him from being dragged along by everyone else's noise. And you can do it too, even if you're not an emperor. You just have to decide that that first hour of the day belongs to you. So, how can you do it? You can set your alarm 20 minutes earlier. That's it. You don't need to wake up at 5. But those 20 minutes are yours. When the alarm goes off, don't check your phone. Don't open your email. Just get up and spend that time on something that brings you peace. If it's hard to get up right away, don't beat yourself up. It's normal. You can leave a glass of water on your nightstand and drink it as soon as you open your eyes to wake yourself up. Or you can even picture Marcus Aurelius with his iPhone alarm blaring at 5 a.m., grumbling, "Time to fight the barbarians and the blankets," and still getting up anyway. Sometimes a little humor helps defeat laziness. Then, try writing, and in a notebook or even on your phone, a single sentence that sums up how you want to act today. Just one. For example, "Today I won't get caught up in what's out of my control." Or, "Today I choose to move forward even if it's slow." Write it down, read it out loud, and keep it in your pocket. When the day gets tough, read it again. And why not? Dare to take a walk around your neighborhood before the city wakes up. Put on your sneakers, go out without headphones, and walk for 10 minutes. Look at the empty streets, listen to the sounds of dawn. Feel that the world belongs to you for a few minutes before the noise begins. That feeling of being one step ahead of the day is a reminder that you've already won your first battle, because the battle is won the moment you open your eyes and decide not to give in to the chaos. Let your warrior's morning mantra be clear and yours. I own my day. Come on, write it in the comments and mark it as the start of your change. Today I own my morning, and that's why I'll be better than yesterday. Lesson number 18. Your biggest rival is yourself. They say there's a creature that shows up at the most important moments of your life. It doesn't live in the shadows, or the dark or far-off places. It lives in your mind. It disguises itself as logic, as caution, as maybe don't try this. And the wildest part is, it doesn't come from outside, it's you. Yes, my friend, you are the monster that so often makes excuses, that quietly sabotages your progress, that stays silent when you should speak up, that hides when you should step forward. And the worst part? Sometimes you don't even notice it. You just feel an invisible wall and you can't figure out where it's coming from. But if you dare to look closely, it's in your thoughts. In that voice that tells you you're not enough, that you don't have what it takes, that it's better not to risk it, just in case you fail. Seneca said it clearly. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Because most of the time, it's not life that's beating you up. It's your mind anticipating blows that haven't even happened. And do you know what he did to stop being his own worst enemy? He mentally prepared himself every day. He imagined obstacles before they came, not to live in fear, but so that fear couldn't catch him off guard. That's how he stayed one step ahead. That's how he stopped hurting himself. There's a YouTuber I love because she shows this in a very real way. No Heavy Theory, Rashalia. In one of her videos, she shared how for years she avoided filming content because she felt like she wasn't good enough. And when she finally dared to do it, she did it full of doubt, terrified of being judged. And what happened? Nothing terrible, on the contrary. She realized that what had been stopping her wasn't the camera, or the algorithm, or the audience. It was herself. And she overcame it by working on her confidence every single day, filming even when her voice shook, posting even when she felt insecure. Because if you don't dare to do it badly, you'll never do it well. Now let me ask you, have you ever tried to start something new but heard that voice saying, "You're not ready. Try another day. There are way better people doing this. If you just nodded, then it's time to change that. First, identify the beliefs that are sabotaging you. Write them down. Seriously, put them on paper. I'm not good at this. I never finish anything. I'm not consistent. Now look at them for what they are. Thoughts, not truths. Ask yourself, would I say this to someone I care about? Then why do I say it to myself? Second, set small daily challenges for yourself. You don't need to run a marathon. Just go for a walk without your phone. Speak up in a meeting where you usually stay quiet. Start that course you keep putting off. Every day that you do something uncomfortable but necessary, you're rewiring your mind. And when you accomplish it, even if it's small, celebrate it. Really. It doesn't matter if no one sees it. You felt it. You did it. That alone is a victory. My friend, mindset is everything. If you believe you can't change, you won't. If you believe you're limited, you'll live limited. But if you understand that you can work on yourself, every day, little by little, without waiting for miracles, then things start to change. Not because the world gets kinder, but because you stop holding yourself back. And don't forget, you are the architect of your own walls, but you also hold the tools to tear them down. So tear them down, smash them. Work on yourself. Lesson 19. Train your mind to return to the present. Marcus Aurelius said the mind must return to itself again and again, like reining in a runaway horse, and you know it. Your mind doesn't sit still for a second. You start a task and your thoughts jump to what happened yesterday, to what could happen tomorrow, to an imaginary conversation that's never going to happen. You're not here. And if you're not here, you can't focus. It's impossible. Picture yourself working. You're writing something important. Suddenly you remember a bill you have to pay. Then you think about an uncomfortable conversation you've been avoiding. Then you wonder what you'll have for dinner. Then you question whether what you're writing even makes sense. Not even 30 seconds have passed and your mind has jumped 5 times. Epictetus would call this living in your head, not in your life. Because your body is sitting at the computer, but your mind is everywhere except where it needs to be. The mind is like an untrained puppy. If you let it loose, it runs, it barks, it chases anything, and then you're surprised you can't concentrate. It's not that you're weak, it's that you've never trained your mind to stay still. The Stoics knew this. That's why they sat. That's why they breathed. That's why they wrote. That's why they returned to the moment again and again, because they understood something we've forgotten. If you don't train your mind trains you, and it will train you to scatter, to flee, to jump from thought to thought without ever going deep. Here's the uncomfortable truth. An untrained mind lives in the past and the future. It rehashes what already happened. It anticipates what could happen. But it never stays where action actually takes place. And the only place where you can act is the present. You can't change yesterday. You can't control tomorrow. You can only do something here, now, in this moment. Seneca said it with brutal clarity. The present is the only time we truly possess. The past no longer exists. The future hasn't arrived, and yet we live as if the present matters the least. Justin Welsh, a creator who built his business from scratch, shared how he used to live inside a mental whirlwind, jumping from thought to thought, worried about everything, trying to control things he couldn't control, until one day he realized something simple but devastating. If he couldn't control his mind, he couldn't control his life. His transformation began with something basic, coming back to the present again and again. Not because it was easy, because it was necessary. And it's true. We should treat our attention as cognitive training. It's not magic. It's not mystical meditation. It's practice, like training a muscle. Your mind wanders. You bring it back. It wanders again. You bring it back again. And every time you do that, you get stronger, more capable of being where you are, more in charge of your attention. Because it's true. Out attention gets depleted, like a muscle that's been overused. But it can also be strengthened. And the way to do that is to practice coming back to the present. again and again. My friend, attention is the foundation of everything. Without attention, there is no emotional intelligence, no performance, no conscious life, only reaction. And most people live on autopilot, reacting to whatever shows up, never really being there. Let me describe something I know you've experienced. You're with someone, they're talking to you, but your mind is on the email you haven't answered on tomorrow's meeting, on what you said yesterday and how it sounded. You're physically there, but mentally gone. Later, you sit down to eat. You put food in your mouth, but your mind is going over work problems, replaying past conversations, anticipating future conflicts. Your body is eating, but your mind is at war. You're doing something simple, brushing your teeth, walking down the street, cooking, but your head is a storm. 100 thoughts at once, none useful, none getting you anywhere, just noise. Here's where Marcus Aurelius would say something direct. Come back again and again. It doesn't matter how many times you drift off. Come back, because every time you return, you grow stronger. Every time you notice you've gone and choose to return, you train your ability to focus. It's not failing and recovering. It's training and strengthening. My friend, being here is the foundation of mental performance. You can't perform at your best if your mind is split across 10 places. You can't make good decisions if you're thinking about something else. You can't create something valuable if your attention is fragmented. And coming back to the present isn't something you do once. It's something you do 100 times a day, 1,000, every time you catch yourself drifting. So how do you train your mind to return to the present without turning into a monk living on a mountain? Start simple. Conscious breathing before a work block. 3 deep breaths. That's it, but conscious ones. Feel the air going in. Feel it going out. Your mind will wander, it always does. But when you notice it's gone, bring it back to the breath. No judgment, no frustration. Just bring it back. That's the training. Throughout the day, take mini pauses to reset your mind. 1 minute, 30 seconds, whatever you can, but stop. Breathe. Return. Because if you work 4 straight hours without ever coming back to the present, you're working on autopilot. And autopilot is terrible for deep work. Do one thing fully. Walk without your phone, eat without screens, shower without thinking about work. It sounds silly, but most people no longer know how to do anything without dividing their attention. And that constant division, it's killing you inside. Right for 2 minutes to dump mental noise. Before starting something important, open a note or a blank page and write down everything that's distracting you. The worries, the to-dos, the conversations on loop in your head. Get it out. Put it down. Not to solve it right there, just to stop it from spinning while you're trying to focus. Epictetus taught that we are not what distracts us. We are what we choose to give our attention to. And that choice takes practice. It takes returning. It takes training. There's an old story where a student tells his teacher, "My mind never stays still." The teacher takes a glass of cloudy water and sets it on the table. "Watch," he says. "The dirt settles when the water stops moving." That's what the present is to the Stoics. Clear water. When you stop moving mentally, stop jumping from thought to thought, things settle. Clarity returns. And with clarity comes focus. The present isn't some mystical place, it's a practice. Every time you return, you grow stronger. Every time you get lost and come back, you become more in control of yourself. That's Stoicism in action. Not abstract philosophy, concrete practice. Come back, again and again, until your mind stops being a runaway horse and starts becoming a tool you can guide. Because in the end, focus isn't something you either have or don't have, it's something you train. And the training starts here, now, in this moment, by returning to the present one more time. Lesson 20. No one's going to teach you if you don't do it yourself. Chances are you've complained before, maybe out loud, maybe just in your head. No one taught me how to deal with this. No one prepared me for this. And you're right, my friend. A lot of us were never taught how to handle anxiety, how to understand our emotions, how to trust ourselves or manage money. But now let me ask you an uncomfortable question. Have you gone out to find those answers? Or are you still waiting for someone to show up at your door and hand you a manual with your name on the cover? Of course not, because that day never comes. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll start growing. Because if you don't take control of your learning, chaos will. And you already know what happens when you live on autopilot. You make choices you don't understand, repeat mistakes, get frustrated with yourself, and you stay stuck. Seneca said it clearly with a line that, while simple, can change lives. As long as we live, let us learn how to live. He didn't say, wait for someone to teach you, or someday you'll just know by magic. He said, learn. That means you do it. Get involved. Go look for it. Because living well isn't instinctual. It's a skill. And it's one you can only develop if you choose to. Psychologist Lisa Feldman Barrett, author of How Emotions Are Made, explained something that blew my mind. Emotions aren't automatic. They're not natural reactions like so many people think. They're learned. And do you know what that means? If no one ever taught you how to understand them, you can still learn now. If you've always felt overwhelmed inside, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you just haven't gotten the information you need, because no one's going to hand it to you unless you go looking. You're standing in front of your partner. They say something that bothers you. And instead of breathing, reflecting, or calmly responding, you explode. You raise your voice. Then you shut down with that tight knot in your chest you know all too well. You've lived through that reaction 1,000 times, but you've done nothing to change it. You haven't looked into how to calm yourself, haven't read a single thing about emotional regulation, haven't sat down for 5 minutes to understand yourself. You just keep repeating the pattern, as if someone else is going to come teach you how to be you. So what are you waiting for? Here's the thing. When you do decide to learn for yourself, even a small step, something shifts inside. You feel this quiet kind of power, like you stopped walking in the dark and finally turned on a flashlight. You can't see everything, but you see enough to take the next step. And that, believe me, changes everything. Are you willing to try it? If you're in that place where you feel lost or stuck, try this. First, build what I call your emergency library. It doesn't have to be a whole bookshelf. Just pick 5 go-to resources that help when everything feels like it's falling apart. Books, videos, interviews, podcasts. Things that inspire you, explain things to you, shake you awake, and keep them close. Not for when you're feeling motivated, but for when you're running on empty. Second, put a sticky note somewhere you'll see it every day, on your desk, your bathroom mirror, wherever. Let it say one simple thing. What did you learn today? It doesn't have to be a grand lesson. It could be something about yourself, someone else, or the world. What matters is that your brain starts to understand that learning is part of your day. Like eating, like breathing, like living. Because if you don't choose what enters your mind, someone else will. And they'll do it with what benefits them, not what helps you. We're surrounded by noise, by opinions, by quick-fix advice. But real knowledge, the kind that changes you, doesn't shout. It whispers. And if you don't seek it, no one will hand it to you. So get this clear. You are your own teacher. Don't wait for permission to grow. Give it to yourself. Teach yourself. Force yourself to work on you, because no one else will if you don't. And the moment you truly understand that, that's when your real transformation begins. Lesson 21. Commit out loud. Marcus Aurelius repeated in his meditations who he wanted to be. Out loud, in writing, without hiding. Because he understood something most people ignore. Making a promise only in your head is easy. Too easy. You can promise yourself anything and break it without consequence. But committing in front of the world is different. It forces you, it pushes you, it holds you up. And when you fail, you're not just failing yourself, you're failing in front of others. And that changes everything you've lived it. You promise yourself something. You're going to start working out. You're going to write every day. You're going to focus on your project. Then you break that promise. No drama, no witnesses, no consequences. Because no one knew, no one saw, no one held you accountable. So you promise it again, and you break it again. and little by little your word stops meaning anything, not even to you. Epictetus would call this a lack of responsibility, a lack of integrity, a lack of spine. But if you say it, if you share it, if you make it part of your identity, everything changes. Because now there are witnesses. Now there are consequences. Now breaking that promise isn't just private failure, it's public incoherence. And most people will do anything to avoid that. Not out of vanity, but because humans have a deep need to be consistent with what we say. It's much easier to break a silent promise than to break one that others heard. Tom Bilyeu, creator of impact theory, says that when he publicly announced he would build that company, there was no turning back. External commitment forced him to deliver. Not because he had more motivation, but because he had said it out loud. And now his identity was tied to following through. That's exactly what the Stoics meant by coherence. Your word has to mean something, and if it only means something when no one hears it, then it means nothing at all. Committing out loud is like closing a door behind you. You can't retreat without it being noticed. You can't disappear without explanation. You can't fail without it mattering. And that creates pressure, positive pressure. The kind that pushes you to act when motivation is gone because motivation is weak. It comes and goes, but public commitment is strong. It's anchored to identity. And defending your identity is more powerful than any short burst of motivation. Picture Epictetus gathering his students and asking them, "Say what you'll do tomorrow." Not because he needed to hear it, but because they needed to say it in order to believe it. Saying something out loud makes it real. It pulls it out of your head and places it into the world. And once it's in the world, you can't ignore it. You can't pretend it doesn't matter. It matters, and everyone knows it. Robert Cialdini, a psychologist who spent decades studying influence, described this as the principle of consistency. Humans have a psychological need to act in line with what we've already said. When you make something public, your brain will do everything it can to maintain that coherence, because being inconsistent hurts more than the effort it takes to follow through. Katie Milkman, who researches goal behavior, found that sharing your goals massively increases follow-through, not because you suddenly have more discipline, but because now there's social pressure. And social pressure works. Let me paint two scenarios. First, you tell yourself, "I'll work out tomorrow." Tomorrow comes, you don't feel like it, it's cold, you're tired, so you skip it, and nothing happens. No one knows, no one asks, just you, and you forgive yourself easily. Second, you tell a friend, "I'll be at the gym at 7 tomorrow, wanna come?" Tomorrow comes, you still don't feel like it. It's still cold, you're still tired, but you go, because you said you would, because your friend is waiting, because breaking that promise has consequences. The difference isn't discipline, it's external commitment. Another example, in your head you say, "I'll start this project," weeks go by. You don't start, because no one knew you planned to. But if you say, "I'll submit this project by Friday," everything changes. Now there's a date, now there are witnesses, now there's pressure, and that pressure drives action. Simone Stolzoff, author of The Good Enough Job, explains something fascinating. Declaring boundaries publicly changes behavior. If you say at work, "I'll be offline from 8 to 10 to focus on this," you're much more likely to follow through, because you said it, because now your identity is on the line. Seneca would look you in the eye and ask bluntly, "How much is your word worth today?" Because if your word means nothing, then you mean nothing, not to others but to yourself, and living without a meaningful word is living without a spine. It's living in a state of constant intention without ever crossing into action. The Stoics hated that. Epictetus was ruthless about it. Don't say you're a philosopher, live like one. Don't say you'll change, change. Don't say you're disciplined, prove it. Words without actions are smoke, and smoke disappears without a trace. So how do you apply this without becoming someone who brags online just to get validation? Start by stating goals, not wishes. Don't say, "I want to do this." Say, I'm going to do this. That difference is massive. One is intent, the other is commitment. Give dates, not vague ideas. Don't say someday I'll start. Say Monday at 8, I start. Dates hold you accountable. Vague wishes let you off the hook. Ask someone to support you, not to judge, but to hold space for your commitment, to remind you that you said it, to give your word a witness. Write your commitments where you can see them, not buried in a phone note, visible somewhere you'll see them every day. Something that reminds you of what you said. It's easy to forget a promise you never look at, but if it's staring at you every morning, you can't ignore it. Jordan Harbinger, who spent years talking about relationships and personal growth, said something simple but powerful. Speaking your projects out loud forces you to move forward, because once you say it, it's no longer a dream, it's a responsibility. And responsibilities can't be avoided without cost. When you commit out loud, you stop living in intention and start living in action. Your word pushes you. Your identity supports you. And that's where real focus begins. Because focus isn't just about removing distractions. It's about building an identity so strong that breaking it hurts more than following through. It's about making your word matter so much that failure isn't an option. Not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. And that kind of Stoic consistency, where your words and your actions are one and the same, is the only thing that keeps you moving when everything else fades. Saying things out loud feels scary, doesn't it? But that's where the power is. When you say it, you can't hide anymore. Let me ask you something, like a friend would in a real conversation. What's something you've been wanting to start, but haven't said out loud because you're afraid you won't follow through? If you feel like sharing it, write it below. You never know who you might inspire. And if you want to leave just one line, write, "Today I say what I'll do and I'll do it. I'll do." Lesson 22. Life is not a game. Tell me something. How many times have you let opportunities slip by just because you thought there'd be another? How many times have you said, "I'll do it later," as if life was going to wait around for you forever? My friend, I know it sounds harsh, but it's time to open your eyes. Life is not a game. Some people live as if they had infinite lives, like life is some video game with unlimited tries, where every mistake can be undone and there's always a second chance waiting in the menu. You fall, beep, 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 you start over. You make a bad decision, game over. You reset. You keep going without thinking, as if it didn't matter how many times you failed. But listen, this doesn't work like that. There's no save game button here, no continue later. You can't pause it and you can't rewind. Every day you let slip is a lost level. Every decision you delay is one less point in your real-life score. And by the time you realize it, black screen. Game over. Let me tell you something. When I was younger, I knew someone who always said there was time. That someday he'd start working out, leave the job he hated, fix things with his father, finally write that book he'd dreamed of since he was a teenager. He was brilliant, talented, but he treated life like a chess game he could pause whenever he wanted. One day, his mom suddenly got sick, and in the middle of the chaos, he said something I'll never forget. "I thought I had time for everything, but life didn't tell me I was already in extra time." That's when he realized life doesn't wait for anyone. And if you don't force yourself to work on you today, when you finally want to, you might not have the energy, the health, or even the chance. Listen to what Epictetus said centuries ago. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And you know what? That's the difference between someone who takes life seriously and someone who keeps letting it pass them by. No, of course we can't control everything that happens, but we can decide how we respond, and that even if it doesn't seem like much, changes everything. There's a concept in psychology you should know. It's called internal locus of control. People who have it believe their future depends on them, not on luck or others or chance. And guess what? They're happier, more successful, and more committed to their growth. Because they don't wait for things to change. They go out and change them. So, are you ready to take the reins? I want to give you 3 keys to stop playing with your life and start treating it with the seriousness it deserves. First, Pause every night and ask yourself, did I act today like someone who's in control of their life, or did I let everything drag me along? You can write it down if you want, but what matters is that you're honest with yourself. That daily reflection will show you more than any book. Second, stop chasing goals that don't move you. Set specific, realistic objectives that depend on your effort. Don't say, I want to get in shape. Say, I'm going to walk for half an hour every morning before I touch my phone. And do it. That's where transformation begins. Third, train your self-discipline in small things. Wash the dishes right after eating. Make your bed. Finish that email you've been avoiding for days. Not because they're heroic tasks, but because each one reminds you that yes, you can count on yourself. And that, my friend, is real power. It's time to wake up. Because if you don't force yourself to work on you every single day, you're not going to change anything. This isn't about waiting to feel like it. It's about having clarity and acting again and again, even when it's hard, even when no one's clapping, even when you're alone. So tell me, if life isn't a game, are you playing or are you really living? This isn't about magical motivation or waiting for everything to change overnight. This is about you, about the choices you make every single day, about getting up even when you don't feel like it, about pushing forward even when you can't see the results yet. Because real change begins the moment you stop making excuses and start holding yourself accountable. When you stop waiting and start acting. My friend, no one is coming to transform you. That's your responsibility and your power. If you've made it this far, tell us in the comments, what commitment are you making to yourself starting today? What part of you are you going to build with discipline and without excuses? They say those who stay until the end always find their reward, and you just did. So I invite you to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone who might need it. Click now on the videos you see on screen, because the journey is just beginning.